Hey, today let's talk about the role of product management over the years, since its beginnings back in the first half of the 20th century to nowadays. The concept of product management originates from Procter & Gamble's president. Back in 1931, they were requesting for additional employees that would be focused on brand management, and these people would take the role of managing products, packaging, positioning, distribution, and sales performance. So before the 1950s, the role of product management was very focused on production processes. They were focused on creating efficient manufacturing processes, and there was actually very little involvement from the customer. There was not much customer feedback that was taken into account when delivering or creating those products. During the 1950s and the 1960s, there is some more sales orientation for product management. Here, the role that was described by Procter & Gamble's with these brand people or brand men that they were calling them, here you can see that the role starts to look more like what it was defined at that point. Generally, at this point, product management was not a formalized discipline, although there was already very strong and aggressive sales tactics to actually get the products to the customers. But during this time, many companies actually started to lay down that work that would lead eventually to the role of product management. An example of product management in this time is the introduction of the Ford Mustang in 1964. Ford recognized the growing demand for sporty, affordable cars among the younger demographic in the post-war era. The Ford Mustang was conceived as a result of market research and targeted marketing efforts. The successful launch of the Ford Mustang made a shift in the industry, especially in the automotive industry, of understanding the customer needs and actually building products that were meeting their expectations. During the 1970s and the 1980s, product management moved to be a more market-oriented discipline. The focus changed to understand much better what are the customer needs, and market research was a very strong component of product management. The goal of the market research was, as you can imagine, informing the product development. In the 90s, product management started to focus more on cross-functional collaboration work. In the 90s, you can see the rise of interdisciplinary product teams. Here, the focus was to put to work together product people, marketing people, design people, and engineering, all working together towards a common goal. A good example of this cross-functional orientation of product management is the release of the iPod by Apple. Of course, the release of the iPod was in 2001, but as you can imagine, this was a longer process that was influenced by practices that were already taking place within Apple. Apple's success with the iPod wasn't just about the innovative design and technology, but also about how different teams collaborated. The product team worked very close to the design team, the engineering team, and the marketing team to create a seamless experience for the users. And this is something that started to change the industry and focusing on great experiences for the users. During the 2000s, product management shifted towards Agile and Iterative development. The adoption of Agile methodologies started with the introduction of the Agile Manifesto. And one of the goals of Agile, as you can imagine with that name, it was to actually do a more iterative process when it came to developing products. The goal was to create continuous feedback loops and create user-centric products. One good example of a company being agile is Spotify with its continuous product updates. Spotify continuously iterates its product based on user feedback and data analytics. And the adoption of certain flavors of agile enabled them to release features and updates rapidly. And Spotify has implemented many features that had allowed them to stay ahead of the competition because they have been very agile and having this iterative process. Features like playlists and release radar could be attributed to this way of working. In its latest iterations, product management has moved towards more focused, data-driven decision-making. There is a growing reliance on analytics, on product metrics, sales metrics, different performance metrics to actually continuously improve and evolve our products. And this has led to the rise of product analytic tools and A/B testing. A good example of being data-driven is Netflix's recommendation algorithm. Netflix relies heavily on data analytics to personalize user experiences. The recommendation algorithm analyzes user behavior, viewing history, and preferences to suggest content tailored to each user. By leveraging this data-driven approach, Netflix has improved user engagement and retention metrics. So product management, as any other discipline, is a field that is changing all the time, over time. So from its more, let's say, humble beginnings back in the first half of the 19th century to our current more data-driven approach for product management, there are many flavors to be found even nowadays in the ways of doing product management. And this doesn't mean that the practices that were done in the past or used in the past, they are not used nowadays. As you can imagine, the discipline of product management is not consistent across all the industries and across all the companies. And it will depend a lot on the company culture, the ways of working, how teams are established. Some of the companies are going to have a more data-driven approach. Some of them are going to be more focused on being cross-functional. Some of them are actually going to still have flavors like being more commercial or being more marketing driven when it comes to the ways that they actually implement product management in the company. So if you're a person who is working in product management, let us know in the comments below how your company is implementing product management and which one of these aspects that we have just talked about are present in your company. If you like this topic of product management, maybe you want to land that first role on being a product manager. If that's the case, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.